today's agenda, Discovery 2 for D2 Adventures. I'm going to be fitting a 2-inch lift. I believe it's terrafirma. I'll do it in 2 separate videos, both front and rear. Be as instructive as I can, show you how we did it. This is going to be the first video I'm going to make on it. This is going to be front. A few quite tricky bits with this, but it is something you can do at home with basic tools. Thought rear you will need a few extra tools, but we'll get to that in the second video. What you want to do, have a look under the bonnet here. You just want to find out where both top of your mountings are. This is your passenger side, and you'll find driver's side just over the side underneath water bottle. You can lift your water bottle out, it's just a pushing clip. It'll give you better access. As you can see here, we've already jacked Discovery up. We've used an axle stand, you can just see it to my left, bottom of the frame, to support body. And we've got another one currently under axle. I'm just starting by removing anti-roll bar linkage. Well, I've been unfastening this. Paul's made a start just above spring. I'll show you now. There's 4 bolts hold this housing. It's just taking these back 2 off, which are accessible from above. Drop link bolt off. These 2. And then there's front 2 visible just above spring, which I'm going to remove now. As you can see just down here, inside your spring at the bottom of your shock absorber, you've got 2 bolts, and these both hold your shock absorber down and your base plate for your spring in place. So they're going to be next to be removed. Quite hard to get to. I did get a ratchet on the other side, but this side I'm not having so much luck. I think I'm going to have to do it with a 13mm spanner. Bolts from the bottom, all 4 bolts off there. Bolt out at top. Handle's not very good on this shot, but this is just the bolt holding your bracket for your brake line and your ABS wire. We'll unbolt this and bring them out of the way so we don't put any tension as we remove it. Clamp spring compressors so that when we drop axle, spring's going to stay compressed and gives a bit more clearance just to manoeuvre it out. Hook them away. Now as you can see, we've just got chassis propped up on an axle stand and axle itself just hanging down. Negotiate this one surrender. There we go. dampener all come out in one. Remove dampener from centre of spring. Now you can start unwinding clamps, ready to let pressure off. Then pop your base plate off your old spring. You're going to have to reuse this part as it don't come with kit. And start off more or less where you're finished. We're going to compress new spring, make it easy to fit in gap. Compress it down as much as possible till it will fit between your two mountings. He's way more confident than I am.
Really not.
Once your spring's compressed down and it fits back between your mounts, if you feed your shock absorber back in the middle of your spring, it'll all insert straight back where it came, back up housing, and sit back on base plate. Only thing you need to be aware of, bottom end of your spring will have a flat section that has to sit against the flat of your base plate on the back side of your shock. Once everything's back in place, if you use your jack to lift axle, it will lift all your spring and shocker back into place, and then you can move up onto the top and get your top bolt back in, mounting everything ready to be rebolted.
Found the hole. Every hole's a go. There we go. Beautiful.
To check, you've got a flat bit at the bottom of your springs that wants to be sat on flat bit of your base plate. You can just get these to look with it. I'll shove bolts through them. There we go. I'm going to drop these two bolts back in here. Hold it all lined up. Line all this back up. Refit these two bolts on front here. Tighten these down. Remember to want back as well. Right, look down here. These two halves is above from here. This part I'd like to add, if you are having trouble getting your shock up middle of your spring, once they're removed, this does lift up. But then it means removing some piping. You can put your spring in place, put your shocker down middle, and then this back over the top. Like I say, it would involve removing piping, and that's why I chose to go in front bottom. That's them all damn tight. Tight up top. Now we're going to lift this. So lift all this back into place. Once this is all lifted up, if you tighten these bottom two down, I'm not sure if I mentioned earlier, but these are pretty important. They hold your shocker down, but they also hold your base plate for your spring. So these need to be nipped down nice and tight. Once them two bolts in the bottom there are tightened down, release spring clamps. Oh, I did wedge your socket, just hold anti-roll bar in place. Other side went back in for me, but this side just wouldn't. Let's tighten back down, back it back on here. One last quick check round, make sure all bolts have been tightened back up. But that's more or less it. Lift kit's fitted, wheel back on, torqued up, and off stands, and job's done. Thanks for watching.